I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. 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 All right, well, we're going to invite our kiddos up, our young folks, to head off to their outdoor class, and we're going to sing them out into this glorious, crisp fall morning. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, it's a special place. We got Mother Nature and the human race. The world's got trees and bumblebees, rivers and lakes and the open seas, mountains and valleys and animals too, and a sun that shines on me and you. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, it's a special place. We got Mother Nature and the human race. We got Mother Nature and the human race.
Good morning. My name is Kalish Leviel, and I'm your practitioner of the day, along with Deb Dole and Wanda Maddox, and anybody else you see wearing a stole, just accost them and let them know you want a prayer. Let us feel useful to you. So at this moment, I'll give you a prayer for this moment, knowing that there is only one divine, infinite intelligence that is everywhere present, is in me, is in you, in every member of the band and every member of this world. All of us are really part of that divine intelligence. We're the arms and the legs of that divine intelligence. And with that intelligence, we bring our full self here. We bring our joy and our power and our beauty and our love for everyone, including self. We thank you, sweet Spirit, in deep gratitude, I say, and so it is.
Well, we have a special day today. We have had 7 people join our center. And many of them are already, you already know some of them perhaps, so I'm going to call them up. And we always bring flowers for our members, not just because flowers are such a sweet offering, but because we see ourselves as flowers unfolding and hold the idea that membership here will help that unfolding happen. So when you hear your name, come on up and stay up here until everybody's gotten here, and then we'll clap for you and you can quick go back and sit down, because I know this isn't everybody's favorite. Carmen Hasek. There's Carmen. Ginny Redpath. Ginny Redpath. There she is. Welcome. And Jennifer Landau. Welcome. And Kimberly Camus. Jennifer, welcome. Kimberly, yay. And Kyle Hobbs. I don't know if Kyle's here today. Yeah, there he is. Pamela Tippett. You may recognize Kyle as our one of our bass players. And Richard Onstrather. Welcome. And welcome, Richard. Thank you for joining. Let's give them a big round of applause. Yay. All right. You're free to go sit down. But you might welcome them at the coffee hour. If you see them, they'll be holding a flower.
Well, we're going to move into some musical meditation together. Feel inner peace from my center, from the center of me. Oh, let me feel inner peace from my center, from the center of me. Let's sing that again. Oh, let me feel inner peace from my center, from the center of me. Oh, let me feel inner peace from my center, from the center of me. My heart is open. My heart is open. I am awake. There is a knowing of love, love, love. My heart is open. I am awake. There is a knowing of love, love, love. Oh, let me feel inner peace from my center, from the center of me. Oh, let me feel inner peace from my center, from the center of me. Oh, let me feel inner peace from my center, from the center of me. My heart is open, I am awake. There is a knowing of love, love, love. My heart is open, I am awake. There is a knowing of love, love. My heart is open. My heart is open. I am awake. There is a knowing of love, love, love. Oh, let me feel inner peace from my center, from the center of me. With these eyes I will see, with this heart I will be, opening wide, turning inside. I am listening. With this love I will lead, with this grace I will breathe, deepening peace, fear I release. I am ready to receive. Spirit, know my name, call me home, and light these darkened days. Oh, Spirit, show your truth in all we do. Let love be our legacy. With these eyes I will see, with this heart I will be, opening wide, turning inside. I am listening. With this love I will lead, with this grace I will breathe, deepening peace, fear I release. I am ready to receive. Spirit, know my name, call me home, and light these darkened days. Oh, Spirit, show your truth in all we do. Let love be our legacy. Spirit, know my name. Oh, Spirit, know my name, call me home, and light these darkened days. Oh, Spirit, show your truth in all we do. Let love be our legacy. 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 Oh, let love be see.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Hi, new month, new topic. So in the spread of things of the year, if you're new with us, we've been working with the theme, Your Soul's Compass. And this month, part of that we're aware of is that we have to have courage in uncertain times. And I prepare these talks, and often I get these interesting downloads. And so I was unaware until a couple days ago that apparently Jesus was supposed to come back, like a couple weeks ago. I didn't know that, or I would have been ready, But I guess, not to make light of it, I guess there was a whole bunch of people. Did you guys know about this? No, okay, I'm not alone. Big billboards saying Jesus is coming on Tuesday. And I'm like, wow. But that downloaded this morning because I wanted to talk about being comfortable with the uncomfortable. And not that Jesus makes me uncomfortable, maybe you, but not me. But I was thinking about Revelations, the book of Revelations. Anybody hear that? Oh, I'm glad some people know. It's a book that many of the Christian traditions threw out. It's not in their Bibles. And yet it remained in some. And it was written long after Jesus was not on this plane. And it has continued to captivate millions of people over the years because basically, I'm a storyteller. So I'm super aware of themes. And so, the theme of Revelations is basically we are going to have this huge battle between good and evil. And without boring you with all the incredibly bizarre details, you guessed it, evil loses and good wins, and everyone who's good is lifted up with Jesus, and that's called the rapture. You may have heard of that. And so, the reason it came to me, I know, is I'm talking about comfortable with the uncomfortable, and what I see in that story is that it's survived centuries. Even though it was thrown out of some of the Bibles, who, the people in those traditions went, this guy must have been on mushrooms or something, or something less benevolent. So why did it survive, right? And I think it survives because it's an archetype. And archetypes don't go away. The archetypes that we all are very familiar with, like the good queen and the evil queen and the king and the jester and the hero and the heroine and all of the sort of broad, bold categories, the hero's journey and all that. Those are all archetypes, and they're in the human morphogenetic field of awareness. And so I believe this story of, the battle between good and evil and good winning and evil being vanquished forever into the gates of hell, all of that is very compelling as an archetype. But I also think it's here because we live with a lot of uncertainty, sacred humans. The gift and the curse for us, and now we're finding out certain other species, is we're aware of our thinking. And we're aware at a level that other species maybe are not quite as aware of. And so we're aware that we're doomed. Am I right? I mean, there's going to come a time, unless you've been in denial for a very long time, and I'm sorry to break the news, but we will die. That's sort of part of the package. And as I get older, it doesn't look so bad. It looks like, okay, a new start, right? But because of this uncertainty about, well, when will I die? And how will I die? Those are the larger uncertainties of our life. But then on top of that, there's all those other nitpicky little bitty uncertainties that sort of pile up, like, will I continue to have this job, or will I have the partner I have, or will, you name it, you know these ones. Is the toothpaste going to run out tomorrow, or can I wait a day, All of them, the whole thing creates this sort of backdrop to our lives of uncertainty. And of course, you add things like climate change and politics and wars and, all kinds of other stuff. And it becomes kind of shaky ground for a lot of us. And so what I've noticed about that is that, actually there are only two ways in general that sacred humans work with this uncertainty and try to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. The first way is what I'm going to call closed-hearted. And closed-hearted is when the uncertainty gets to us at such a level that we decide that we're going to circle the wagons. We're just going to get our people together, and we're going to make a big circle, and no one can get to us, and we know who our people are, and all the other people are other. And those others are dangerous and a threat. And so we're just going to be in our little enclave of who we know is safe and okay. And this sort of tendency to view as suspect any change or any desire for something different than our people, it's not new. It's as old as sacred humans. But unfortunately, what it does is it polarizes the world, which sort of we have a tendency to do anyway in our minds. We just have sort of most of us were trained from a very early age to do this and that stuff. So don't go here, go there. Don't say that, say this. Sit down, stand up, stand in line. No, you're not standing in line right. This is kindergarten. Basic German Shepherd stuff, like sit, stand, stay. And so we learn that there's good ways to do things and bad ways. So at the very beginning of our life, we start learning that there's two ways or more to do things. And so this close-heartedness for me is like kind of a way to deal with the terror and the difficulty and the uncomfortableness of daily life and all that it brings. And the problem with it is that it's, for one thing, it's really not pleasant to be close-hearted. You may have noticed that, because we all do this. It's not like there's one group and then we're over here, right? I mean, we all do both. But when I'm closed-hearted, I'm in a state of shutdown. And so the world that is so beautiful and the people that are so incredible are not available to me because I'm not available. And I have to do things to make myself completely unavailable a lot. In fact, I have to say that I think this might be the source of all addiction, is this overwhelm and this sense of can't deal, and so we turn to things. And so I'm not just talking about substances, I'm talking about, video gaming and reading way more than most people, and staying up late even though you don't want to, and all the different ways that we hold the world at bay. All the ways. Think of your own ways. I have my ways. And for a moment, those things bring us like sort of a sweet relief, but it's so fleeting and doesn't work in the long run, right? So there's another way to do it that we all also do, good news here, and that I'm going to call open-hearted. And it turns out, actually, that if you start studying world religions and indigenous cultures and the wisdom that they carry, that almost without exception, every religion and wisdom teaching suggests that we be open-hearted. It's in all the literature. If you look, you don't even have to look hard. The golden rule, for example, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, shows up in every major tradition. It's just part of it. It's sort of like when you're open-hearted, it's like very clear that that's like a no duh. Of course, you're going to treat people the way you want to be treated. But when you're in a closed state, it's not like that. It's just not. And so to be open-hearted is probably a lot more difficult in a world full of discomfort and uncertainty. And yet, it really is a great way to go. Why? Because, I don't know if you saw that piece by Clarissa Pinkola Estes when COVID hit. And the title of her essay was, "We Were Made for Times Like This." It's a beautiful essay, but it's way too long to read today. But the gist of that essay is, we're here on purpose. And this is certainly the science of mind teaching, is that this is not like a random, showing up just because accidentally someone got pregnant or something. This is our soul chose now to be here, to be in this way for a reason. And we are the vessels or the vehicles of a divine intelligence, just like Kailash said in her prayer, that is hoping beyond all hope that we will give rise and expression to the uniqueness of how we are in that larger picture, in that larger frame of reality, which is, whatever you want to call it, something much vaster than our individual selves. And so, that's why all the indigenous folks and the world traditions and the wisdom teachings all suggest to be open-hearted, because there's an understanding at some deep level that we really are the carriers and the vehicles for the divine to be expressed right here. And we can't do that if we've circled the wagons very readily. We can do it with our people, but that doesn't go very far, And so I was thinking about this, closed-hearted, which I've certainly been on and off all my life, and open-hearted, which I certainly have been practicing. And I was thinking about, so what happens to me when things don't go the way I want them to go? When things happen that I don't like? When things happen that make me uncomfortable, really uncomfortable? I'm not talking about, little tiny rip the Band-Aid moments off. I'm talking about rip the Band-Aid off, those moments. What do I do? What have I learned from my spiritual teachers, the ones that I've been studying for so long, like Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barker and Thich Nhat Hanh and so many others? And so I have a list for you. I was going to give you paper and pencil, but I'm sure you'll remember, right? You can listen to this on YouTube. So this is what I've learned about getting comfortable with the uncomfortable long enough to be able to understand how to be open-hearted in it. So the first thing is, maybe the hardest, is to work to accept what's happening. Because, of course, as sacred humans, I can't speak for you, but for me, the first thing is not to accept what's happening. The first thing is to go, oh, this shouldn't be happening. I have a feeling that in the morphogenetic field of humanity, there's a book out there somewhere, and it's the book of this should not. This should not be happening. And so I immediately go to that book and open it up and go, there's got to be a page in here saying that this shouldn't be happening to me. But of course, it is happening. And so eventually what we want to get to is some level of, okay, coming to terms with what is. Well, it is happening. Don't have to like it. Nobody said you had to like it. There's still things that have happened to me that I don't like. How about you? But what it is suggesting is that we begin to develop a curiosity and an openness about what's happening. So instead of shutting down, in other words, we try to stay open with our curiosity to sort of go, okay, well, this is unexpected. This isn't exactly what I thought would be happening right now. Let me just kind of stay open and see what I can discern about what's happening. And so the next things that we do, that I do, this is truly my practice, is I pay attention to the sensations of my body and the feelings and emotions that I'm experiencing. Now, why is that important? You would think you wouldn't want to feel those things or notice those things. It's important because both of those sentences started with, I notice. And when when we can move into I notice, when I can move into that, I have distanced myself from actually being consumed by those things. And now I'm over here looking at it, going, oh, wow, this is very intense. I can see that. I can feel that. And it's just enough of a separation that I can kind of see that there's more to everything than just being in those sensations and feelings. Do you know what I'm saying? Can you remember a time in your life when it was really bad? And so you were overwhelmed maybe by feelings and sensations? Like, I notice a lot of times when things get really, really hard for me, I get cold, really cold. Other people get, hot. So that's a sensation. And at the same time, I get really, really, really scared, or I get really, really angry or embarrassed or whatever. There's lots of feelings out there in here. So those two things, noticing sensation, noticing emotion, allow a bit of separation so that the heart has a moment not to close. It's really just buying ourselves time. It buys me time. And I have to say 1, 2, and 3, like work to accept what is, notice the feelings and the sensations. I sometimes have to do rinse and repeat on those several times before I'm actually with the program, because I'm overwhelmed. And so it takes me a while to just keep saying, no, we're doing this, remember? But then once I can really ground into those practices, because they're really practices, that creates what I think of as a gap in consciousness, in awareness, and a gap in time. And that gap is critical, Pema Chodron, a really tremendous Tibetan Buddhist teacher, was talking about learning to meditate, and people would say, all of her teachers would say, well, there's a gap that happens when you've been meditating for a while, because she was complaining about the monkey mind, the mind that's just like yada, 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 and she couldn't, no matter how long she sat, it was still there, And they kept saying, well, there's a gap you'll get to. And no gap. She'd sit and practice, no gap. And so finally she was practicing in Nepal. And in Nepal, there are a lot of dogs. And a lot of the dogs get together and they love to do these barking things. And so they'll bark and bark and bark and bark, and they have great ecstasy in barking together. And they're really, really, really loud. Have any of you been to Nepal? It's amazing. And so she was sitting in a room meditating with the dogs barking. And it had been like that for days on end. And then all of a sudden, for no reason at all, the dogs stopped. And she went into the gap. Because she could feel it. She could feel what that would be like, and she went into it. Well, that's what happens when we do this little process of accepting what's happening, noticing feelings and sensations, and then waiting for the gap. And in the science mind, this gap that's created by this practice is where a lot of our practitioners do spiritual mind treatment for people. Like when someone is thinking they may be going to receive a diagnosis, but they haven't yet, it's a gap. When somebody's having difficulties at work, but nothing has actually happened yet, it's a gap. When partners are struggling together and they try and find resolution and they can't quite, and so they're thinking about, it's a gap. And that gap, when spiritual mind treatment, our form of prayer, affirmative prayer, is spoken into that, is very, very powerful. It's powerful all the time. But in those situations, it's incredible because it's like we become open to even requesting a prayer, to even receiving the gift of that prayer. And we believe that prayers actually work. I don't know how it was for you when you grew up, but I was raised in the Episcopalian church, and they had sort of these standard prayers that you memorized and got a quarter from your parents if you did. And they were great. They were beautiful. I love them because even then I think I was a poet at heart. But I never for one second thought they worked. Not at all. because whenever I tried them, they didn't. Well, here it's a little different because we do this different kind of prayer that actually really starts to bring things into being. So this creating a gap is critical to our well-being and to our open-heartedness, to being open to that vaster, whatever it is that we're in. And so I found a poem, and it's called Allow, and it's by a poet named Donna Faltz. And let me read it to you. Here's the screen. There is no controlling life. Try corralling a lightning bolt, containing a tornado. Dam a stream, and it will create a new channel. Resist, and the tide will sweep you off your feet. Allow, and grace will carry you to higher ground. The only safety lies in letting it all in, the wild and the weak, fear, fantasies, failures, and success. When loss rips off the doors of the heart, or sadness veils your vision with despair, practice becomes simply bearing the truth. In other words, accepting what's happening. In the choice to let go of your known way of being, the whole world is revealed to your new eyes. I thought that was an incredible poem. Just discovered it yesterday, so that was fun for me. So what happens when we reach that gap and we have come into a state of kind of openness and there's room, is the first thing that happens is we get our breath back, And I'm not just talking about, the physical breath, but we get the breath of our spirit back. It comes back to us because I don't know about you, but when things are scary or hard or uncomfortable for me, sometimes I start breathing real shallow, and I also feel lost in myself, in my spiritual life. I get kind of frozen. And so in this place where we've come to a place of gap, breath comes back, the breath of our spirit, the breath of our being. And in that moment, and only in that moment, really, is when the open-heartedness takes full effect. And all of a sudden, sometimes it feels like this, all of a sudden, we remember who we are and that we're held in something much larger. And the next right step reveals itself. It's just like that. It's like all of a sudden, we know what the right action for ourselves is. I know that. And it takes that kind of working through process for me. Maybe not for you, but that's kind of, after years of sort of watching this process in myself without naming it, those are the steps that I actually go through. Sometimes it's a blessing of like seconds. Like something happens, I'm a bit of, like whoa, 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 and then I know what to do. Sometimes not. Sometimes it takes a while for me to become comfortable again in who I am and what I am, so that I can then know what to do and have the breath of spirit in me and surrounding me so that I can do that, so I can bring my best self, my open-hearted self, into the situation without closing down, ideally. So it reminds me of something that Rumi, that great trickster guy from the Sufi tradition, what Rumi said, and it direct out of his experience, I don't know if you know his story, but out of his experience, he said this: if the light is in your heart, you will find your way home. If the light is in your heart, you will find your way home. And that is what allows us to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, to lean in, not closed down, but curious, and then to allow the body, mind, spirit to kind of catch up with itself so that we can reach the place of knowing what to do and what not to do. Because the closed-hearted part of me, anyway, has lots of ideas about what I should say and what I should do. And they're not nice, usually. So I'm always grateful to find the gap, to find the open heart, to find the spirit, so that I don't make another mess that I'm going to be uncomfortable with and have to clean that one up too. How about you? So why don't I do a prayer, and we'll go from here. Here and now, as I pay close attention, I feel an energy holding us all. I feel it surrounding us in this sanctuary, on the live stream. I feel this presence in nature especially strongly. And I know that there is something much larger than my individual self. But that my individual self is part of that, part of whatever that is, and that I'm held in love. And as I remember this, I remember that I have been gifted this life, even though from time to time I forget that it's a gift. I remember now. And I remember that everything that unfolds in my life, and if you believe this in your life, is part of an unfolding of my own nature, an evolution and an expansion of my understanding. That even the hard things, the uncomfortable things, contain within them opportunities for me to understand more deeply, to love more fully, to listen more deeply. And so even the things that I find most difficult, I now hold in tenderness, realizing that all of it is an opportunity for me to bring the light that I am, the light of my heart, into the world, and to allow that light to guide me home to my truest, deepest self. So whatever is before me now and in the future, I move with the ability to accept whatever's happening as much as I can. I wait for the gap. I feel the presence, and I allow that presence to guide me. And I'm grateful for this life, for that guidance, and for now. And so it is. Now you know all about Revelations, or at least as much as you need to know. All right, so we're getting ready for the offertory. We have two wonderful ushers coming forward. If you have the ability to give a gift to the center financially, I know you gift us by your presence. We deeply appreciate that gift. It helps us do all that we do in the world and here at the center.
Gonna climb this mountain, won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time. No doubt about it, won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time. Gonna climb this mountain, gonna climb this mountain, won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time. No doubt about it, won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time. Leave behind what's weighing me down, wash away what's holding me back. My heart is falling, face forward, feet on the ground, living in this courage I found. The sky is calling, gonna climb this mountain, won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time. No doubt about it, won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time. Leave behind what's weighing me down, leave behind what's weighing me down, wash away what's holding me back. My heart is falling, face forward, feet on the ground, living in this courage I found. The sky is calling, gonna climb this mountain, won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time. No doubt about it, won't stop till I get to the top, one step at a time, 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 one step at a time.
Ah, thank you. All right, before you see the next slide, we have an extra announcement that we just received in our email this week. As you probably may know, we do a lot of wonderful work with the community, focusing especially on people experiencing homelessness and hunger. And so one of the groups that we're part of is called the Interfaith Coalition. It's a coalition of different faith traditions that come together to work with people who are experiencing homelessness and trying to find a way to meet the needs. So every time, about this time of year, we ask if you have any extra coats, hats, scarves. They can be children's coats, hats, scarves. They can be adult, male, female, in good condition that might help someone who's living rough to weather the weather. And so we didn't get this notice until this week. So they want these by Tuesday, October 11th, which is 10 days from now. So we have this week and a little bit to gather up what we've got. We have a bin in the classroom that you can put those in, or during the week if you want to bring them to the office, we'll take care of that. And anything you have that you could donate is deeply appreciated. They go to the Interfaith Coalition volunteers who package them up and distribute them through various means and ways. So thank you for that. All right, now we have another ask, and this one is for our very own youth group. And the youth group is wanting to go to winter camp. Can't blame them. It's an incredible, extraordinary experience. A little cold, but you know, they've got coats, hopefully. But what they're doing is they're going to do a cookie jar fundraiser, and they're going to assemble cookie jars, mason jars full of cookie mix, and then they're going to sell it to their friends and family and to us. And so they're wondering if we would be willing to provide the ingredients and then buy it back, of course, right? Because we love our kids. So what they're looking for specifically is new or used mason jars, new lids and rings, available at Jaeger's, just so you know, all-purpose flour, white sugar, chocolate chips, rolled oats, brown sugar, and if you don't want to get any of those ingredients, gift cards that would allow them to go shop are also deeply appreciated. There's a box in the back, I believe, and so they're accepting donations for the next, from now until the 1/7/8 to next Sunday. You want them next Sunday, Kat? Yes. So next Sunday. Yeah, she's like, I just want them. And I appreciate any gift you can give. So if you have time to go shopping with your normal shopping and get some of these and bring them here, we would love to have them by next Sunday.
Are those quart-size jars or like?
They're quart size. They're a quart. Yeah. Yeah. And then they make wonderful cookies. It's a great recipe. And by the way, a great hostess gift for the holidays. So just a pitch here. I want them to go to camp. All right, so the next thing we have is that the men's group is gathering next Sunday, and they are gathering in the classroom in person only. And so we'd love to have any of you who feel drawn to come explore with Philip Flores. The men's gathering, we'd love you to be there and be a part of that. Starts at noon next Sunday. And then at the same time, here in the sanctuary, the women's group will be meeting. And they also start at noon. And the women also meet only in person here in the sanctuary, and we always work with the theme of the month, which is courage in uncertain times. So women, bring your journals and something to write with, because we may be doing a little writing prompt thing. We don't know yet. So that's happening. And then I've told you about them. If you were here, Shantala is coming. And Shantala is a sacred music group who does kirtan, which is chanting in Sanskrit. And they're actually quite famous. They're located in Portland, but they were for years associated with Ram Dass. And I've known about them for many, many years. In fact, they stayed at my house one time when I was living in a different city. It was very, very cool. And so they're going to be here. I know that Sanskrit chanting is not for all of you. I totally get that. But if you are interested in that, tickets are $30, and you go through that your URL, which is on our website. You can also just type in Shantala, and it'll come up. And that's next Sunday at 7 p.m. here in the sanctuary. Sometimes there's dancing. There's a lot of movement with this kind of chanting. So very fun. Anything else? What have we got? It's time for us to stand up, if you're able, and sing our way into the coffee hour or wherever your journey leads you.
I'm not worried about tomorrow. Today I declare freedom from yesterday, mistakes of the past. Today all things are made brand new, and don't it feel good to know that all is well and unfolding as it should. All is well, all is well, all is well. Even Spirit is directing me right now. All is well, all is well, all is well, and unfolding as it should. I can change my reality by changing my mind. Perfect peace, joy, and happiness is yours, and it's mine. I am a love, and so are you. And don't it feel good to know that all is well and unfolding as it should. Sing it out. All is well, all is well. Even Spirit is directing me right now. All is well, all is well, all is well, and unfolding as it should. Let's sing the chorus. All is well, all is well. Even Spirit is directing me right now. All is well, all is well, all is well, and unfolding as it should. All is well and unfolding as it should. Enjoy this glorious day, and we'll see you again soon. Bye, everybody.